The following interview was conducted as part of the Price of Freedom project by the Madison County Military Heritage Commission to inform our community of the sacrifices made by those in the military on battlefields around the world. Each veteran interviewed received a Valor Award for heroism during combat. We want to thank the Huntsville School System and the ETV Broadcast Center for their help in presenting this military heritage program. Hello everyone, I'm Tom Kennemer. Welcome to our program. Today we'll be talking with U.S. Army veteran David McLawhorn. David is the recipient of the Distinguished Flying Cross for heroism while serving as a helicopter crew chief in Afghanistan in 2009 during Operation Enduring Freedom. David also received the Purple Heart for wounds he received during combat. He was inducted into the Madison County Military Heritage Hall of Heroes in 2018. David, it's a pleasure to have you with us, sir. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Tell us a little about yourself. I understand you're from North Carolina, Fayetteville, North Carolina area, right?
I was born in Fayetteville, North Carolina, yes. I lived there for about a year, then moved to Dalton, Georgia for about a year and a half, and then grew up most of my life in Richmond, Virginia.
Now, Fayetteville, North Carolina, was your dad in the military?
He was not, and that's a common question, too.
Yeah.
My dad's a textile chemist. So he worked for a tire place and worked textiles there. So it's
Did he work around in Fort Bragg area there?
just in Fayetteville. There's a Firestone plant there that he was the textile chemist for Firestone.
I guess
there.
a lot of people would make automatically make that connection.
Especially being in the military. Everybody's like, "Oh, you're at Bragg?"
Yeah.
Nope.
Was your dad in the military? Do you have any siblings?
He was never in the military. No. Besides my mother's father, I'm the only person that was in the military in my family.
I see. What spurred your interest in the military? Were you an ROTC or something like that? Or?
That would have been awesome, and that would have been way more, I guess, valorous.
Yeah.
Or virtuous, I guess.
Yeah.
Than what I was doing it for, because I had just finished at Auburn University. I had pretty heavy in student debt, and the Army provides a way.
Yeah.
They do a student loan repayment program, and I got 7 years of college paid back in 4 years. So
can't beat that.
They can't beat that at all.
Sure can't. So why did you choose the Army? I mean, I'm sure you looked at all services, right?
I did. So when I was starting to go through, I mean, there's a possibility of being an airline pilot because I was in aviation management and flight education. I had all my flight certifications and all that. But starting out, you make peanuts, being a flight instructor to get there, and there just wasn't, it was going to be a very big struggle to pay off college and to live at that point. So I started looking at military solutions. I talked to the Air Force, I talked to the Navy, and you don't get to pick your job there.
Right.
It doesn't matter what your GT score is. You're at the needs of the Air Force and the Navy. And the Army, and if you have a good enough GT score, you can kind of pick where you want to go. Yeah. So I went into it with the explicit direction in my life of if I don't get helicopters and a helicopter that I can be a crew chief or a flight engineer on, I'm not going to do it, and I'll just go back and be an airline pilot. So I talked to the Army, and the Army had a really good path and just happened to have Chinooks at Fort Campbell.
Yeah, right.
So I said, I will be a Chinook mechanic / crew chief at Fort Campbell, and I will take that one every day.
Where did you go to boot camp?
I started out at Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and then straight from there to Fort Eustis, Virginia for heavy helicopter training.
And what year was this, David?
2004 started basic training and finished. So January 4th, I believe. Yeah. So brand new year, let's go Army.
Go for it.
And so finished up basic and AIT around July. Was at Fort Campbell in August.
Yeah. So you got to do what you wanted to. You were running helicopters, and you had pretty extensive training. And you went to, was that where you mostly received a lot of your training, was Fort Campbell? Or
Fort Eustis.
Eustis, okay.
Fort Eustis is where you go through all the helicopter maintenance training.
I see.
So, you're a mechanic first and foremost, just like you're a soldier first and foremost.
Right.
So soldier first, mechanic second, and then after you prove your mettle, I guess, as a mechanic, if you get picked and have the right, I guess, attributes, they'll put you into a flight company, and you can become a crew chief and actually own a helicopter and fly it and be its mechanic. So
Now, after Fort Campbell, did you go straight to Iraq or Afghanistan, or what?
So Fort Campbell, I was there for about, I guess I got there '04, and then '05, October of '05. So just a little over a year, got to be at home station before we went to Iraq. So I was Iraq for '05, '06 rotation with 101st. So that
I
was,
see. And what is it? You spent a year there or 9 months?
I did. I spent a year there. I was a helicopter mechanic. We worked phases. We made sure all the helicopters were in flying condition. So every night when they went and flew, we had them up.
Where were you stationed there?
Balad.
I see.
Balad, Iraq.
I see, yeah. Talk about the types of aircraft you flew on or worked on, David.
CH-47. That was it. That's my baby.
All right, describe that helicopter for us.
So a CH-47 is the really big helicopter. It's a tandem rotor helicopter. It's got a rotor head on the forward part of it and one on the back. It's got two great big engines, and we hold 33 people and up to 50,000 pounds of
Carry supplies and troops. Yeah.
Yep, beans and bullets. That's what
Been around for a while too, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, it's been around since Vietnam, the 50s.
Now talk about when you were when you first went overseas to Iraq. When you had some downtime, what was available? What could you do? Did you have some kind of movie theater set up there? You could call home, I guess, on a pretty regular basis.
Ish. I mean, we worked 12-hour rotations. So I mean, it's like going to work. I was a helicopter mechanic, so I wasn't out there actually, ground pounding or anything like that. So we had a 12-hour rotation. 5 o'clock in the morning we show up, 5 o'clock in the evening we go home. After that, is just kind of watching movies in the room, or just working out. I did a lot of running. I love physical activity. So
yeah. Now, were you involved in any combat action as a crew chief in Iraq?
Iraq, I was not. I was still a mechanic there. So I went to work every day and worked on the helicopters that were either in schedule or unscheduled maintenance.
So you didn't go out on
No, we did a couple, aircraft that had broken parts or something like that out in the field. I was on the downed aircraft recovery team for those aircraft, so I'd actually fly out there and we'd fix them, and then they'd get back in and we'd fly. They'd either fly the rest of their mission or fly back to home station for more extensive repairs or whatever had to happen.
Now, you were in the service from what, 2004 until 2009, right?
2010.
2010. I'm sure you formed lasting friendships with fellow crewmen, that sort of thing. You still stay in contact with a lot of the guys you serve with?
I do. I still stay in touch with one of my really good friends. He was my roommate for, I guess, most of the time that I was in the Army. Steve, he's out in Colorado. We talk on a pretty regular basis. My old crew chief, one of the projects that I work on, he's on that project. So I actually get to see him every time I go up to Delaware, and we stay in pretty good close contact.
Good.
Everybody else, I mean, it's still, I mean, it would be very close if we got to see each other, but we still stay in touch on Facebook and stuff like that.
Good. Were you married when you were stationed overseas, when you first went overseas?
Iraq, no.
Iraq,
so Meg and I were married in 2007. And so I was in the Army for about 3 years before we were married. So when I did my tour in Iraq, we weren't married. She was still in college, and but we were, we'd been together this whole time.
Knew each other.
So yeah, and we were dating. It's just super long distance. Yeah. But when we went to Afghanistan, we had been married for just over a year.
And when did you go to Afghanistan?
Went to Afghanistan in 2008, November of 2008, December actually.
I see. David, as we mentioned earlier, you received the Distinguished Flying Cross for your heroic action during combat. Tell us about the battle or combat action that led to you receiving this award.
That was a fun day. We were I was on day flight crew, which it was mostly a maintenance flight crew. We were supposed to be flying maintenance, but the weather was coming down every night, and so a lot of the small valleys and stuff like that were being cut off. The only way to get to them was for resupply was with pretty much our helicopters.
And that's what beans and bullets, basically. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I mean, we were getting mortar rounds. We were getting 155 rounds bullets. We were hauling water, wood, Fuel, I mean, anything that you can think of, that's what we were hauling. People, because that's the only way in and out for them too. We were dropping off people coming home from R&R, and we were bringing people home from or to go on R&R.
This was in the daylight hours.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This is in the daylight hours. So we got up that morning and thinking we're going to be, you know, kind of slow, but this valley that needed to be resupplied was still in need. They couldn't get to at night again.
Right.
So we went back up in there. We'd been there every day for, this is, I think, day 5 in a row. Mm-hmm. And we took off out of Jalalabad, which is where my helicopter crew was based out of, and went up and into the Korengal Valley. And that was a pretty bad area, I guess you would say. It's now closed because it was too high in impact. But so yeah, we were making runs up there, and on our, I don't know, we had probably a good 3 trips up there already, dropping off water and, you know, supplies and people. And on the 3rd one, we had a pallet of wood, pallet of water, and a fuel blivet, and they were all on our external hooks. So CH-47 has 3 hooks on the bottom of it, so we can carry stuff on the inside and the outside. We had 1 load on each hook, and we were going into a place called Restrepo. It's not so nice of a place, but, you know, it's a small platoon-size element that was there, and they needed all their stuff.
Describe what part of the country of Afghanistan, like?
So it's far east.
Far east, okay.
If you go over to Jalalabad, it's north and east of Jalalabad. Okay. So just those small outposts that are out there trying to bring the fight to the Taliban.
So you're going into the base camp, I guess, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir. So we had, you know, our load on the bottom, and as a flight engineer, Chinook has I guess we call it a hole in the middle. It's a rescue, is where our hook is, our center hook. So the guy that's monitoring the loads, which was me, the flight engineer, so you sit there and you look out the hole, make sure all the loads are still good, they're not frustrating or anything like that. And as we were getting close, I start making the calls. It's like, looking good, sir. Forward 100, down 100. And just something didn't really feel right. It felt, you know, a little tinkling in the bottom of the floor. And I was like, sir, are we getting shot? And our pilot, John Taylor, says, yeah, I feel like I feel that too. What's going on back there? And then a big explosion happened. So probably midway down the cabin, really close to where I was, an RPG had hit the left main fuel tank. And a big fire above, below. I dropped the loads immediately. I pulled them, and
what altitude were you at?
About 100 feet off the ground.
Okay.
Well, 100 feet forward and down to the drop point for the load. Okay. But the Restrepo is built on the side of a cliff. So the cliff ends and there's the drop point. So we were, you know, more like 500 to 1,000 feet probably off the ground at that point. But from the landing point, we were pretty close.
I see.
So we were really low, really slow, and there's a ridge line that goes next to it. So, you know, we're here, guy shooting is here, and it's a pretty straight shot. So I tell the pilots that we were, you know, the loads are gone, get out of there. And then it kind of got confusing just because, you know, everybody's going, what?
How many were aboard the plane, the helicopter?
So we had a crew of 5.
Okay.
So you've got 2 pilots, a flight engineer, crew chief, and a door gunner, and then we also had 2 passengers.
Okay.
So we were also getting shot by guns and stuff like that, so we didn't just get hit with an RPG. And from there, we made a mad dash across the valley to get away from the incoming fire. And the fuel tank had also caught on fire at this point. So the whole way across the valley, I'm trying to fight the fire, trying to get us to as far away from people shooting at us as we could. And the pilots were just doing a fantastic job. My crew chief had the front of the aircraft under control. He was doing his job. I mean, we all have a job in the helicopter, and everybody was doing their job really well. I mean, I've said it before, I had the best team that I could have asked for on that flight because we were all working as a team.
Doing what you were trained to do.
We're trying to save each other's lives.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah, I guess I got a Distinguished Flying Cross because I was trying to put the fire out while everybody else was doing their job. But that was my job at that point.
Sure, yeah. And so you were going down, and how far did you?
So we made it all the way across the valley into a small outpost called Vegas. And we had lost the #1 engine over going across the valley. It became fuel starved, and it shut down. So big Chinook is really heavy, and at altitude, I mean, we're probably somewhere between 5,000, 7,000 feet in the mountains. And Chinooks, they can't just hover down if they lose an engine. We have to kind of roll on. So we roll on landing into the side of a hill. And when we hit, we popped up. And I thought that we had landed. So I took my tail off, which keeps you inside the helicopter.
Right.
And we hit back down again. So I'd moved back to the ramp to try to put the ramp down to get everybody out. And we landed back down, and I got popped out the back. And I landed pretty much on the top of my back, and everything folded over down. So I'm doing that. I broke 12 vertebrae in my back, and I broke them in probably about 27 places. Herniated 5 discs. I mean, broke 8 ribs where they connect into the spine. So I was kind of in a bad way. I'd gotten ejected from the helicopter. My crew had come out, and finally when the helicopter had rolled down the hill, and fire was everywhere because the fuel tank had spilled and it was still on fire. And so they came around the corner and they were like, "Are you okay?" And I'd also messed up these 3 fingers. So I looked at my hand, I was like, "I don't know." And the guy goes, "Well, get out of here, it's on fire." So I stand up and I try to start running, and I'm like, "Yep, that's not going to happen."
Something's wrong.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. So I walk, and it's hard to breathe. It was not a fun situation, but we're all trying to regroup, and they couldn't really get to me because there's fire between us and a helicopter that's all crumpled up, so nobody could really get to me. So I walked around, and it was labored, and I got up to this little wall. And there's 2 Marines up there providing covering fire, and they're all yelling, "Get up here! You are not safe!" And I'm like, "Yes, I get that." So I'm like, trying to climb up this wall, and I'm trying to ask for help because I can't breathe.
Right.
And they're just yelling, "Get up here!" So I'm trying, and the rock wall crumbles, so I fall back down on my back, and so it was. That was a bad situation. I finally get up, and I get about halfway up the wall the next time, and they grab me by your little handle on the back of your armor and pull me up.
You're in a lot of pain at this
Oh
time,
yeah.
too.
So we get up to the rally point, and my whole crew's up there, and we're taking a head count, and our pilot's like, "You're good. You're good. You're not so good. Whoa, what happened to you?" Yeah. And then he looked at me, and I had blood coming out of my mouth. I messed up teeth. And I could hardly breathe. I mean, everybody's just like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And they go, "Can you make it in? We got about 100 meters left to go inside the wall." I said, "I can try." And I took 1 step and just collapsed. So they had to put me in a stretcher and make it the rest of the way. But I mean, it's good times. Every time I think of from where they put me on the stretcher until when we crossed the wall, our pilot, John Taylor, who was he was a pretty good friend. He was a good dude. He kept looking at me going, "You look so good, man." And
Trying to cheer you up.
Yes, and I'm laughing because I know I don't look good. And so everybody's like, "Why are you laughing?" And it hurts. I mean, it's like, and everybody's just like, "Why are you laughing?" And I was like, "I've seen this before. I've seen this movie before. He doesn't make it." And everybody I think that's when they knew I was okay. Because of that, I mean, everybody was, they were really, really worried about me.
Were they taking your fellow crew members taking fire while they were trying to get you out of there?
I'm not sure. I mean, it was, for me at that point, we were all just trying to get to a safe location. It was.
And the Marines were helping out. So
Exactly. I mean, there were a couple Marines at this outpost, and they took care of me once I got inside. There was an Army unit with some Marines, and the medic there he did a really good job. So once they finally got me off of my armor plate.
David, everyone made it out except one, I think one of the crew members, or not crew members, but someone you had picked up at one of the base camps. Tell us about that.
One of our passengers, he was actually killed, and I think from what I've heard, I mean, it was as soon as I left, I was removed.
Right.
But from what I've heard, it seems like he was killed in the initial contact.
Oh,
So we were getting shot with big guns and stuff like that, and they think he was actually killed during the initial contact. But yeah, we picked him up to go home on R&R. That's the super sad part about it too. We picked him up to go home to see his family, and he never made it.
He'd been over there for quite a while, or well, you don't know exactly how long he'd been there, but he was trying to make it home.
Yep, just trying to go home and see his family.
Now you, of course, received the Purple Heart after you suffering the severe back injury. How long were you hospitalized?
So I was in the hospital for right about a week, I guess. So I got stuck in J-Bad for a few days because it weathered in between Jalalabad and Bagram. And there were no CT machines or anything like that. I mean, Jalalabad's it's a real small base, so they had X-ray machines, and they could do surgeries and stuff like that. But the more intensive, I guess, critical care and machines like CT scanners, MRIs, they're all up in Bagram. So they couldn't get me on a flight in or out to Bagram for about 2 or 3 days. I spent a few hours in Bagram before I went up to Germany. I was in Landstuhl for, I don't know, everything was kind of hazy. So it was probably about 3 or 4 days there. And they fixed my teeth and fitted me for a brace, and then they moved me back over. I stayed at Walter Reed for a night and then ended up at Fort Gordon, Georgia.
How long did you have to stay there?
Stayed at Fort Gordon, Georgia for a week before I started going on convalescent leave. So I had a surgeon that put me on convalescent leave almost immediately because I was on a profile where I couldn't sit or stand for longer than 5 minutes, 2 minutes. I don't know. I did not need to be standing or putting any weight on my back. So just the weight of my head and my shoulders was probably enough.
Do you still have lingering effects from?
I do. I'm in constant pain. My back always hurts, but I've got a good pain management team here in Huntsville. He and I have been monitoring my pain levels very closely, how well everything's kind of sitting, and making sure there's no major changes in the structure of my back. But every quarter or so I go and get epidural steroid injections, and that makes it so the pain's much more manageable.
Yeah. Now you were discharged after you were hospitalized?
So
your career was over?
Yeah, oh yeah, it was definitely over. I was on a profile that I couldn't ride in any military vehicle ever again. That was part of my permanent profile. So I was on home duty and convalescent leave after I got home back to Fort Campbell. So they moved me from Fort Gordon to Fort Campbell, and back where home station. And I was on home duty and convalescent leave for over a year at Fort Campbell. And then after that, I started going back to my old unit, working in the orderly room. My first sergeant was like, "Yep, we got a place for you. You want to sort some papers? You can do that." So pretty much waiting on the medical evaluation board to finish up. And so that was about 1.5 years after the accident to get to 100% as recovered as I can be, to being evaluated, to being medically retired. So,
are you pleased with your care through the VA?
I don't use the VA.
Oh, you don't use the VA?
I do not. I have TRICARE for life because I'm medically retired, so I use my TRICARE. I like the ability to actually choose my care how I need to.
David, is it mostly your training that kicked in a situation like that? I mean, is that what brought you through, and you
definitely.
Automatically start dumping the load and so forth? Talk about how training kicks in a situation like that.
Definitely, it's 100% training.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, everybody always talks about how terrible it is to play the Army games, right? You know, it's like, oh, we have to go out and do common task training, and we have to go out and train our job even more, even though we do our job every day, right? But in a situation like that, in a true emergency, everything ends up being reflex. And the more you train, the better your reflexes are in doing it correctly. It's like, writing. You know how to write, and you do it all the time, and you train to make your handwriting better, right? Well, it works the same way with being a mechanic or a flight engineer, or in any kind of situation that's perilous, I guess, because everybody thinks you have a plan until you get hit. And then that plan goes out the window and training does take over. Your body just goes ahead and does it, and it knows because you've done the drill about 1,000 times.
Describe what it's like to serve in a war zone. And is being afraid or scared something that you deal with in combat? And you just have to
Of course. I mean, if you don't put the fear out of your head, then it's gonna linger forever.
Eat at you, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And it doesn't get better if you don't learn how to deal with it. But I mean, I guess every time I was in combat, I knew I was there to do a job. So I separated where I was with what I had to do. That's what I've always done pretty well, is compartmentalize myself from things. Because if you let fear start taking over, then it starts affecting your judgment. I mean, you don't do the logical things. You start going off of your head or your heart, not your head. So
try to put it in the back of your mind.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
there, but you know.
And it has to be there.
Right.
Because if you let your guard down, then so a little bit of fear is good. I'm not trying to say that it's not, because I did I compartmentalize fear and stress for everything, because everything's going to end at some point. Yeah. But yeah, so that little bit of fear will keep you on the knife's edge. But too little of it and you're reckless, and too much of it and you're too careful. So you have to be able to go out and make mission. So you have to just put it behind you, go out and do what you got to do, and deal with it later. But I mean, as long as you do realize that this fear does end, then you should be able to cope pretty well.
Handle it.
Oh,
right,
yeah.
David, how does it make you feel when people call you a hero, when they read about or hear about what you did in combat? How does that make you feel?
It kind of makes me laugh every time, and anybody who knows me, it would probably make them laugh as well. I'm not big on parades. I'm not big on, I don't know, even like attaboys. Yeah, it's nice to have somebody say, "Hey, good job."
Yeah.
But hero, that's something that, people that win wars do.
Yeah.
I did my job. That's what I think of it as. I mean, it's a great honor, don't get me wrong, because it's amazing to see that what I would think is doing my job and something that I would do every day makes me a hero. I feel like everybody should be working for that in their lives, because we need to be a hero for somebody, whether it's your family or somebody at work, somebody your friends. We have to be champions for each other.
Good point. Good point. Do you ever often wonder, would you do it all over again? Is that?
Oh yes, in a heartbeat. Yeah. If I could have, I would have gone straight.
Knowing
back
what
to,
you've been through. And
oh yes.
Yeah.
If I could have, I would have gone straight back to Afghanistan. Yeah. When they told me my back was broken, I said, "Yes, but will I make a full recovery?" And he said, "No." And I said, "All right." So I had to give it up. But yeah, I wanted to go over and. I mean, the guys that were still left in country, I was back at Fort Campbell. They were still fighting the fight. I really wanted to get over there and help.
Be a part of it.
Yeah.
I know you had to deal with your injuries and a lot of pain, but how did your experiences in combat affect your life after coming home? Finding a job, your life has changed. You're no longer in the Army and so forth. How did things change for you?
So I think, everything changes. Mm-hmm. And it's how we deal with those changes that affect us totally as people. Mm-hmm. But when I came back from being in combat, I had a new mission. My mission was to get better. My new mission was to heal. And that was hard because I'm not a patient person. So I wanted to be better now. I was ready to find a quick pill, the quick fix, mend it up, and let's go. But I mean, when you break your back in 27 places, and I've got knee injuries and ankle injuries. My whole body got injured, just about in some capacity. It's a process. So you have to be. It taught me how to be patient more so than I already was with things like that. But yeah, I mean, the change was great though. I use the same veracity, I guess, with my job as I did trying to get better and trying to move on to the next level, because because I knew I wasn't going to be in the Army anymore. I knew I was going to be medically retired. I knew that I was going to be getting out soon. So I wanted to start pursuing how we could start me and my family. I mean, Meg was with me. We were both in that, well, what's going to happen next? Right. Are we going to stay here? Are we going to move? So it was a big fear because we hadn't been totally looking for jobs at that point.
Hadn't faced this sort of thing in your life yet. Well, it sounded like you had a great attitude about the whole thing. I mean, that's got to be reassuring and helpful.
Yeah, you have to keep a positive outlook on all of it.
Well, what is your favorite memory of while you served in the? Is it something that stands out of all that you've been through? Your favorite memory while serving in the military?
I mean, it's sad to say the accident was kind of my favorite memory.
Mm.
Yeah, it was hard, but I grew so much from it. You know, I mean, everybody wants to be tested to their limits. That tested me and my entire flight crew to our limits. I mean, I know that they all grew from it. I talked to my crew chief a lot, and he struggled with some stuff for a long time, but I mean, he is a strong man now. He went out and got his master's degree. He's the head of quality at a company. I mean, he's just moved into great locations, and places in his life. And I think that a lot of it comes from what we actually went through. We know that we can trust each other. Everybody on that plane did such a fantastic job that it's something to look back on in pride. I mean, we saved each other's lives. Nobody did anything that the other person wouldn't do. And so that's why I guess when you had asked me about being called a hero, those guys are my hero. I mean, the pilots flew the helicopter and made it so that we all lived. My crew chief did everything in the front of the helicopter that required to keep us going. I was trying to do the best I could in the back. We helped each other. It was teamwork at its finest.
All pulled together.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't consider myself a hero. They all are too.
You've served during a war, and I'm sure you've seen a few war movies. Do you think war is depicted accurately in most of the Hollywood movies or TV shows that you've seen?
I don't watch terribly many war movies, and it's not because it's like I love Saving Private Ryan.
Right.
I think that one was a pretty accurate depiction because you can see how much downtime you have. So I think people have this misconception of war as being 100% all the time. You have a lot of downtime. There's a lot of boring times, but when it's exciting, and everybody's got to get together and do their job. So, but yeah, I mean, I think the action movies, I don't think that they do a good job of depicting what war looks like. But I feel like the more dramatic ones, like Saving Private Ryan, if you've ever seen Band of Brothers, yeah, I think that those are very accurate.
Good movies, yeah.
Yes.
Tell us about your family, David. You and your wife, Meg, have 2 children, right?
We do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Meg and I have been married for almost 12 years now.
Yeah.
Good gracious. But yeah, so almost 12 years we've been married. June the 9th, we're coming up on 12 years.
Yeah.
I've got a
Where
daughter.
is she from? What part of the country is she from?
So we're both from, I guess when you ask me where I'm from, I guess I should say Dalton, Georgia.
I see.
Because my parents live there and her parents live there. I don't claim it because I only lived there for 1.5 years of my life. Right. But yeah, so she's from Dalton. We're about 2.5 hours away from home. So it's nice. You've got family that's close. It's
pretty country there.
Yeah. And it's a lot like here, beautiful mountains and stuff like that.
So you have 2 children?
We do. So Meg and I, we've got 2 kids, Margaret and Jack. And Margaret's about to turn 6. I mean, that's crazy because she seems like just yesterday she was born. And Jack just turned 4. So they're growing up and they're growing like weeds.
Wow.
Man, they're great kids.
Good. Being in the military, you have to move around a lot, David, different duty stations. Talk about the effect that can have on your family or even you know, as a soldier.
So moving around a bunch, I mean, I've seen a lot of people do it. I was at Fort Campbell my entire 7 years in the Army. I guess the biggest moving around part now in the Army is the fact that you're not just going to be going from, say, Fort Campbell to, Hawaii. because that's where I wish I was stationed. Or Germany, that would be great too.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, I mean, yes, those moves are there. But what's really hard on the families is the fact that not only are you picking up and moving the whole family, but you may get there and have to go to Afghanistan for a year. Right. So the biggest moves, I think, are the actual deployments. I think they're the hard hitters. I mean, you have to have a really, really strong family to make it through that, because it's either going to make you stronger or it's going to tear you apart.
What advice would you give to young people who may be considering a career in the military?
Do it.
Do it. Yeah.
Do it. I would do it in a heartbeat again.
And why do you say that?
There's so many opportunities. I mean, there's no way that I ever would have been a Chinook mechanic in my real life. You know, I was going to be a pilot. That was my plan. I'm going to fly airplanes. It's going to be awesome. But you know what? Being a Chinook mechanic and flight engineer was probably one of the best things I've ever done. I mean, it's just, I love my job. I love the helicopter. I still work with the helicopter. I get to work in the project management office for cargo helicopters, which is, we manage the Chinook. I mean, I would say the same thing if you're going to want to go be in the infantry. You know, you get to go camping. That's what I called it when we go to the field. You know, you go camping, you go out and you go on hikes and stuff like that. Yeah, you have to embrace a little bit of suck, but it's worth it. I was a runner. I liked obstacle courses. I liked all of that stuff, and you get to do that stuff. Yeah, there's some times that you're not having as much fun. Yeah. But that's going to be in any job that you have.
And it certainly helped with your college.
It does. That's another one of the opportunities. I mean, you can be in the Army for 4 years, 3 years, whatever your obligation is, and then you can get out and have college paid for. They even pay for you to live.
I know it helped me. I mean, it's always it, and that's...
Yeah, the post 9/11 GI Bill, they give you basic allowance for housing now. Yeah. So not only do they pay off your college, they pay to give you a place to stay while you're doing it.
So you got a job with... you're working on more helicopters. That's what brought you to Huntsville, is that right?
It is.
Talk about what you do now and the company you work for.
My job description is I'm a logistics analyst. That sounds exciting, right? And it actually is. Yeah. It's funny because everybody's like, "Oh, you're a logistician?" And my wife thinks that I guess I'm like Jack Ryan because, you know, he was a logistician.
CIA guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But no, it's not anything that exciting. Yeah. But no, we manage the helicopter. We manage everything from modifications to production to, I work on the fleet side of things.
This is the same type helicopter that you...
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Chinooks.
So you're
CH-47
well aware
Chinooks.
of it. Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
yeah. So I work in a small cell, and we're really, really tight, just like you would be in the Army. I mean, we're all really good friends, and we're all subject matter experts, and we also provide logistics, business support, whatever needs to happen to keep these helicopters flying.
You have to travel a great deal now?
Not terribly much. Yeah. I mean, there's a little bit of travel, but I get to go out and when I do travel and see the guys who are still working on them.
Now this is at Redstone Arsenal, is where you're, okay, yeah. And then what, PM, did you say?
PM Cargo.
PM Cargo, yeah. And now, do they refurbish the helicopters, or what exactly do?
As of right now, we're still spitting out brand new helicopters.
Oh, I see.
So we've got a CH-47F, which my accident, I guess is it likes to be called. It or it's like they like to call it, was the first complete total loss of a CH-47F in history. So it's a brand new $28 million helicopter that no longer exists because it burned to the ground. Right. But we're still putting them out. We still have a few more units to give helicopters to, and then after that we're going to go back over to sustainment. But we're also trying to plan on a new version. So they're going to do a block upgrade and make it new and better. Trying to get a few extra pounds of lift out of it, give it a new facelift kind of, and paint it a different color.
So you wouldn't mind being a crew chief in these more
that'd
modern...
be fantastic. So yes, it's exciting to be involved in that sort of thing, though, that part of it.
David, you were inducted into the Hall of Heroes in 2018. What was that experience like, and what did that mean to you?
It meant a lot. At first, I was just, you you go into these things not really, I didn't know because I'm so busy at working with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I didn't even know that there was this base of community support for veterans in this town. I mean, I knew that there's a lot of veterans here in Huntsville, but I didn't realize how much support is here. It's absolutely amazing to see people excited for something that you did a long time ago. It gave me, I guess, the news these days about the military is not always that great. Yeah. But it gives you hope that, you know what, the news may not all be right. There are good people out there. There are people that support people that are willing to make sacrifices. And, I mean, I hope that we would all be willing to make those sacrifices. But even if you can't make those sacrifices, if you can just help out the people who do, it'd be fantastic.
You'd be doing your part.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
And hopefully I can continue to help people that did the same thing. Because, I mean, I feel like that's a big part of why suicide rates and stuff like that are up so high right now. Yeah. People are getting back and they don't have the support in the community that a lot of people do here in Huntsville. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to adjust. And when you see that support from a community, it actually gives you hope.
It sure does. It really does. Now, you touched on this during our interview, but I want you to go over it again somewhat, I guess. What would you like for those watching this interview, especially our young people, to learn from your military experience?
Do it.
Do it.
Do it. The military's fun. Yeah. I liked going out and playing guns when I was probably their age. You know, we'd go out and play guns in the backyard, play war. We'd all dress up in camo and we'd go and crawl around the mud. It was a lot like that. And as long as you go into it thinking about it that way, then it's so much fun. But the military has so many opportunities. So many opportunities. It gives you confidence. It gives you competence. It gives you knowledge that nobody else will ever gain unless you actually go in the military. And if you start when you're young, you don't have to go to college. You can go and be in the military, do a great job, do the best of your ability. Mm-hmm. And when you get out, you can go back to college if you want to be in management. And if not, everybody is going to want to hire you.
Make a difference in someone's life.
Exactly.
David, it's been a pleasure talking with you today. I want to thank you for participating in our oral history interview series and allowing us to preserve your military experience. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much,
sir. Thank you for service to our country.
I appreciate it.
That very much, yeah. If you'd like more information regarding this interview or any interview in our Military Heritage Series, please visit the Madison County Military Heritage Commission website at mcmhc.us. I'm Tom Kennemer. Thank you for being with us.